It is a day that ends in AY, which means we are live. Hope everybody's had I don't think everybody's even in here yet, so maybe I'll wait. I might say that again. So if you're watching this on replay, I might say the same thing I said all over again in a minute. We're going to make sure we live on IG. So it is a day that ends in DAY, which means we are live. Now I'm just saying it again. So I hope everybody's having a great. I'm recording this on a Friday, so if y'all watching this on replay, it might not be Friday, but it doesn't matter. It's a good day. If Dre All Day is going live, it's a good day. So I hope everybody's had a great week. Great close to maybe the close to your business week. Maybe it ain't no close. Maybe it's just everyday grind. Whatever it is, I'm going to give you something that's going to make you better here in this live right here. So as y'all are checking in, shout yourselves out in the comment section, and we're going to get into this in about 30 seconds. I know it's Friday. I know some of y'all want to get to the weekend. Some of y'all about to go to the bar. Maybe you can't go to the bar. Maybe you're just going to have a drink at the house. Whatever you're doing, shout yourselves out. Mozart Gates was going good. Oh, you saw what I was saying about the police on my story earlier. Oh, yeah, I was talking about that talk. But anyway, that ain't really the topic here today. But, again, I give everybody like 30 seconds to check in. Then we're going to get right into it. No matter who's here, who's not here, we're getting right into it either way. We deliver either way here. Work on your game. If we on, we on. That's just what the deal is. Cupertino is in the house. Shout out to Apple. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. I'm a former 9-year professional athlete. I'm author of 27 publications, including this book right here called Work on Your Game, using the pro athlete mindset to dominate your game in business, sports, and life. And I'm author of this book called The Mirror of Motivation and Self-Guided Self-Discipline. I am going to give you this book for free at the end of this presentation. So if you want this book free, just stick around to the end of this presentation. I'll tell you how to get this book free, shipped to your doorstep, not a PDF. This actual book shipped to your doorstep. Anyway, as I said, author of 27 publications. I've done 4 TED Talks. I created this whole philosophy, this whole framework, this whole brand and business that is called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking the mental tools that you need to get to the top 1% in sports and using those same tools in business and using them in life. This is for Work on Your Games for anybody who either you feel like you need more game, you feel you need to get better at showing your game, or you feel you need to get more recognition for your game. You are in one of those 3 positions, or all 3, or 2 of the 3. You're in the right place at the right time with the right person. So what we're talking about here today is what to do when you have advice. How do you actually share advice? Is any of you who's listening to this ever, 2 questions I'm asked. Has any of you here ever had advice that you knew would be useful to another person and you didn't know how to get it to them? You weren't sure if they would be open to it. You didn't know if you should just go offer it to them. Maybe you offered it and they didn't listen. Maybe you offered it and they did listen. You were like, all right, there's somebody who's actually willing to listen. Has anybody had that happen? I'm sure you have. Has anyone here ever had someone come to you and offer you advice and they clearly didn't know what they were talking about? They offered you some advice and it wasn't useful advice. It was not good advice. They offered you something that maybe they thought you didn't know, or something that they thought they knew, but they clearly didn't know what they were talking about, didn't know what they thought they knew. And it was actually not a kind of an awkward situation, or maybe you played them, you clowned them for always trying to give you advice that they shouldn't have even been offering in the first place. But everyone here has been in a situation, either you wanted to give advice to somebody and they either didn't take it, or maybe you didn't offer it, or a situation where someone else offered you advice when they were completely unqualified to do so. So being that we all know what this feels like, today I'm going to tell you how to give advice. If you have advice that you could give to someone else that you think would help them, let me tell you how to actually do it in a way that will maintain relationships. It will not cause another person to feel as if something's wrong with them. It will not cause an argument. And you won't feel dumb for trying to offer something to somebody that they didn't actually want. Because you try to give somebody something they don't want, they're going to reject it. It's like trying to give a dog medicine. So all that being said, let's get into, since the world that we have today, a lot of people out here have something to offer, and the social connectivity that we have through these apps. I'm on Periscope over here, Facebook over here, Instagram over here. Everybody has a way to share whatever you want to share with the world. Whether the world wants to hear it or not, nobody can stop you from broadcasting, right? If nobody wanted to hear me do this, I can still do it. Nobody can stop me from doing it. So the connectivity we have allows everybody to share whatever they want to share, and we can even do so anonymously. And this allows for a lot of the democratization of sharing information and advice is a good thing in some ways, and sometimes it can be a bad thing, if you know what I'm talking about. So let's talk about how to share advice when you actually have some. Number one thing to do when you want to share advice, listen to me very closely. Do not offer unsolicited advice. Do not offer unsolicited advice. I'm pausing here just to give everybody, just to get at a moment for that to sink into everyone's brains. Do not offer unsolicited advice. Everybody knows what unsolicited means. That means you were not asked for it. Do not go and offer someone advice that they did not ask for. If you think you could help somebody, but they didn't ask you to help them, don't offer them help. If you think you have something that would be useful to another person, and you're not quite so sure if they'd be open to it, you're not sure how they feel about you, you're not sure they're open to even hearing anything from another person, do not offer your advice to that person. Do not offer unsolicited advice, especially to a person that you don't know. Now, if you know the person and you got a relationship with them and you have you can reasonably assume that they'll at least listen to what you got to say, that's a different situation. Completely unsolicited, when you don't know the person, they don't know you, they never heard of you, and you just randomly pop up offering advice, don't do that. Most of the time it will be ignored. A few times somebody may get hostile or irate with you for even offering them something they didn't ask you. And maybe if you get lucky, once out of every 100 times, maybe twice out of 100, they'll say, hey, thank you, that was good advice. Thank you for sharing that with me. Most of the time you're not going to get that. Most of the time you'll probably be ignored. Do not offer unsolicited advice, okay? This is most important. This is the most egregious mistake people make when they feel like they have something to offer another person. You just go try to force your idea or your view or your opinion on another person. Do not do this. Even if you think they need to listen to you. If somebody publishes an article on the internet and you completely disagree with what they're saying, you have the complete opposite idea, is it really going to benefit you to go write a long 3-paragraph diatribe of why your way of seeing things is better than theirs? Probably not. Maybe it'll lead to an argument. Maybe you'll be ignored. Maybe you'll feel good about yourself in the moment. But does it actually produce anything for you or them? No. Or for the world at large? No, it does nothing. Offering unsolicited advice that was not asked for is not useful. Okay? Being that the goal of you offering advice is that you want people to hear you, right? You want people to listen to you. You want people to understand you. You want people to accept what it is that you're saying. Offering unsolicited advice is the worst way to do that because people are not going to hear you. Well, actually, people will hear you, but they won't listen to you because you're forcing it upon them. Hearing means we recognize that there's a sound. Listening is we're actually processing it and taking it into account. You will be heard if you offer unsolicited advice, but you won't be listened to. And if you want to be listened to, do not do this. This is the worst mistake people make every single day. You see it on social media all the time. Do not do this. Maybe you're guilty of it. If you know you're doing it, stop. Point number 2. Today's topic is how to give advice. Usually, here's the thing about unsolicited advice. This is the second point. And this is why it's important that you don't offer unsolicited advice. Usually, when we offer people advice, we're telling them what we would do or what we need to do, not what they need to do. Why is that? Why do we usually give people advice about what we need to do or what we would do rather than what they could or should do? The reason why is because we are who we are. I am who I am. So if you ask me about your situation, I got to think about it in my head. And the only experience I have is being me. Now, there are people who are better and worse at this. Of course, there's levels to all this. But a lot of times when someone's offering you unsolicited advice, especially, they're usually telling you what they would do. They're telling you how their mindset is. They're telling you how they think, and they're giving you advice for what will work in their life. But guess what? You're not them, and they're not you. So why should they give you advice about what's coming out of their mind for their life when you ain't the one who's living in their mind? You're not living their life. It makes no sense. This is why you don't offer unsolicited advice, okay? If and when you are offering unsolicited advice to the other person, okay? The person must want the advice. They must want the results that you have. If they don't want the same results that you have, they probably shouldn't be taking your advice. And you should not be offering it, okay? Follow your own advice and then create the outcome. You want to offer unsolicited advice to people, here's how you do it, okay? So any of you who you have plenty of things you want to say and you just got to get it out of you and you just can't bear not telling anybody, let me tell you what to do. Take the advice that you need to take yourself. The advice you would give to another person, you take it. You do it, you produce results with that advice, and then once you produce results, everybody will see those results, and then they'll come asking you for it. Then it won't be unsolicited. It will be solicited advice because somebody asked you for it. Everybody follow what I just said. So when you have unsolicited advice to offer other people, and you're just itching to get it out, here's what you do. Take your own advice, follow your own advice, produce actual tangible results through your own advice. And then when people see that you're producing results, they will come to you and say, yo, I want to get the same results that you got. Tell me how to do it. Then you can offer advice all you want because people are asking for it. Everybody follow what I just said. Got it? Good. Point number 3. Topic here today is how to offer advice. The third way to offer advice. All right, this is the only real way to offer anybody advice in life. Wait until somebody asks you for it. Wait until someone asks you to give them advice, then give them advice. Until or unless someone has asked you for your advice, do not offer it. I'm pausing here for emphasis so that can sink in. If no one has asked you for your advice, do not offer your advice. Unless you have a relationship with that person and you have a history that you know this person will be open to what you have to say. Other than that, do not offer advice to a person who's not asking for it. If and when you try to offer someone advice and they seem to bristle at it, they're not really interested, they don't listen to what you said, they don't follow what you told them, and you see that they didn't follow it, you see that they ignored your advice, even though they seem to have listened to you, but they didn't follow it, don't say anything else. Don't go back to them and say, hey, why didn't you follow the advice I gave you? No, don't do that. Why? Because they never wanted to hear it in the first place. They showed you through their actions or their inactions that they were not interested in what you had to say. They showed you, all right? Actions speak louder than words, right? So if you offer someone advice that they did not ask you for and then they don't follow it, all right, they're telling you something loud and clear that they don't want to hear what the hell you have to say. So why don't you take that advice yourself and produce results? Or take that advice to somebody who's asking you for it. And if nobody's asking you for it, that should be telling you something. Maybe it should tell you something about the value of your advice. Again, now you can take this or leave it. You can take this or leave it. You can take it or throw it away. But do not offer advice to people unless they ask you. When people start asking you for advice, then you give them everything you got. All right, whatever they ask you for, give it to them. But until they ask you, that's the world letting you know something, okay? The people who can offer the most help, you know what they usually do? They focus on what they're doing, and they do it so well that other people notice what they're doing, and then they come to them and ask them, yo, can you help me? Can you show me? Can you tell me how to do that? Because of the results that they're producing. The people who get asked to offer advice the most are the people who have produced the most results by focusing on what they need to do and focusing on the people who are already asking for advice. They help them so much that then the word gets around on its own, and then other people come asking for advice. Other people come asking for help. Other people want to read the book and get the information. Not because you're running around finding people and saying, hey, I can give you advice. Let me give you some advice. You never heard me. I got some advice for you. Don't do that. Do not offer unsolicited advice. Everybody heard? Have I said that enough times? Good. Now I'm going to tell everybody here how to get a free copy of this book like I told you I would. I'm going to recap my points, and if we got a question, I'll take it. This book right here is called The Mirror of Motivation. It's a self-guide to self-discipline. This is the first book of mine that you should read. I've written 27. You should read this one first. Why? Because everybody here has goals. Everybody's listening to me. You probably understand you got to put some work in to get your results, get your goals. Challenge is many people never ask themselves, who do I need to be as a person? What kind of energy do I need to have? How do I need to approach life? How do I need to show up every day? Who do I want to see when I look in the mirror? When you answer those questions and you get clear on who you are being, the things that you do will change. The energy with which you do things changes, and then the results that you get will change. And I think everybody here wants results. That's why you want to read this book first, because this book, The Self-Guide to Self-Discipline, will give you the frameworks for you to answer the question, who do I need to be? Because YouTube won't always be around to hype you up. I won't always be around to answer questions for you, but you will always be around no matter where you go. As they say, no matter where you go, there you are. This book will help implant the frameworks into your brain so that you will always know who you need to be, which will color your actions, which will change the results that you're getting in life. So if you want results in life, you want to read this book. I just told you why. The book is already paid for. Go to mirrorofmotivation.com. That's the title of the book without the word the. So mirrorofmotivation.com. The book is paid for. All you do is cover the shipping. We ship this to you worldwide, anywhere that you live. Again, that's mirrorofmotivation.com. Now let me tell you my 3 points here again. And if anybody has a question, you can go ahead and post it. The topic is what to do when you have advice to offer. Number 1, do not offer unsolicited advice to people who are not asking for it. This is the worst form of advice when nobody asks you, but you're offering it anyway. People do not want it. If they wanted it, they would ask you for it. Number 2, Usually unsolicited advice is usually of what the advice giver needs to do, not what the receiver needs to do. So if you really want people to want your advice, go follow your own advice, produce actual results with it, and people will start asking you how to do it. Then you can offer advice. And number 3, wait for someone to ask you for your advice. People who have good advice to share don't do it by shoving it on other people. They wait for people to come to them. Why do people come to them? Because they are already producing results. That's why people come to you for advice, not because you're just some advice machine. This doesn't mean that you just sit around and wait for opportunity. It means you go and do your thing, and then other people will come find you. You don't have to force your advice on other people. If you find yourself forcing your opinions or your advice on people, that is the world is telling you something loud and clear that is not interested in what you have to say. Go do something, then the world will be interested in what you have to say. That's the way that it works. All that being said, I think I only see one question in here. Saleh said, I was a professional information gatherer. Yeah, well, you read that book, Work on Your Game. We covered that. Mozart said, I always deliver my advice given. I don't know exactly what you said there. Adrian said, I like when you gave a lesson about when someone gave you advice, you said, ego is not a bad thing, not to live life by the book. Yeah, I covered that in my book, Work on Your Game. That's covered here. So when you get the mirror of motivation, you can get this on the next page, all part of the funnel. So everybody, I do these lives usually every day. On the weekends, I don't always do it on Saturdays, but I might do it tomorrow. We'll see. All you got to do is just follow me on whatever platform you want. Just follow me. You see when I go live. If you miss it, you can watch the replay. But I can't answer your questions if you catch the replay. So anyway, mirrorofmotivation.com. The book is already paid for. All you do is cover the shipping. Mirrorofmotivation.com. We got a brand new program dropping probably at the end of this month or the top of next month. I've been telling people about this for more than a month already. We put the finishing touches on the page right now today. We got to put together a couple sequences. We're going to do a soft launch soon, and it's coming. So everybody who hear me talk about this new program we got coming, this is going to be the thing. It is coming within the next, what's today? Yeah, within the next 10 days. It's the 23rd, not even that many days. It's coming, everybody. So everybody have a great Friday. Stay safe. Buckle up if you're driving. Don't drink and drive. Everybody have a great Friday. Work on your game. We out of here. Dre all day.